say he died on impact. Others say he died when he blew up. But whichever one it was, he's still on the scrapyard looking for one that needs to scrap.
What rubbish, Percy. You've already told this same story lots of times.
No, I didn't. This is a different one.
Oh, whatever. Now, let me, Percy, tell you a real ghost story. Oliver was shunting around the yards when something caught his eye. He had been thinking about it, but there was an old abandoned line that had been covered up by a chain, telling no one to enter. Oliver always wondered what was behind. There was always lots of cargo or trucks just standing by it. He didn't want to break rules and regulations, so he just left it. The trucks beat their usual troubles themselves, crashed into one of the big support beams that was blocking the old abandoned siding.
Oh no!
Shouted Oliver. He expected the rocks and rubble to crash into him, but instead they landed on the cargo and trucks. Opening his eyes, he saw a lot of old rusty tenders that seemed to be from British railways, and that were all painted in different colors, representing where they came from. So, being his usual self, he decided to wait and explore when the mess was cleared. Soon all the debris and rocks were out of the way. Oliver went to investigate.
Driver, can you move those chains, please?
Asked Oliver. So once his driver took off the old chain, he buffered up to the old tenders, and they came out. They looked like some of the engine's tenders, but they weren't. They were all different tenders, different shapes, sizes, name it.
Oh my, I need to show the fat controller this.
Oliver said to himself as he shunted all of the tenders into a siding, but there were too many and the siding was too small for all of them. So he decided to wait until the fat controller arrived. He looked over at all the 6 tenders. These tenders were tenders that Duck used to trick Henry when he wanted more tenders because he deserved them. So, once the fat controller did, he walked down and walked towards Oliver. Great job on finding these tenders. I know what to do with them. Please, take them and shunt them onto Henry's goods train, said Oliver with excitement. He wanted to know what it was that the fat controller wanted to do with the tenders.
Don't know what you can use these rusty tenders for,
he said to himself, but he still wanted to know what they were for. Henry pulled his goods train, not happy with the extra load. Oh, hello, Henry. Seems that you took a liking to those tenders. Oh, hush up, Chuck. I was having a nice time until your friend Oliver found these rusty things. And Duck went in silence for a bit. What's wrong? Something that I heard about these tenders and how they're apparently cursed. How? Well, you see, when I was getting ready to go to my home on Sodor, a diesel came in with a lot of tenders. He was going to take a goods train, but he had to deliver these first. I offered to take them, and he told me about a story about these tenders and how they are cursed because they were possessed by 6 engines, and that the engines had some serious accidents. So they kept the tenders, but after a couple of incidents, they started to get rid of them. I didn't believe the story, but the diesel warned me. First, they had silence. Then Henry started to laugh, as well as Duck. You don't actually believe that, do you, Duck? No. Oh, it's only a story after all. Henry, still laughing, puffed away. Although, I hope it is, he muttered to himself. Soon the tenders were ready to go, and they had to wait until an engine came along to take them. James's tender had a couple of issues, so James had to take one of the new tenders. It was a bit similar to his color, but James still didn't like it. I feel like it's like we're taking a tortoise on my back. Something that we all know about James is that there are two main things that he hates: shunting and taking goods trains. And with his new tender, the goods train didn't make him any happier. But that would change the next day. As usual, the Fat Controller came along to the mainline sheds, but something would change. The Fat Controller wanted one of the engines to take a goods train to Marin, and the most unexpected thing happened. Sure, can I take it? Everyone, even the Fat Controller, was surprised. They all knew James hated goods trains, and they were shocked to see him acting like this. Please, sir, please. Yes, James, you can take the train. What has gotten to the engine smoke box? James got onto the turntable and puffed out the breakers of his train. But the engine the Fat Controller didn't know is that Duck had came in and heard everything. Oh dear. For days on end, James would be taking goods trains. To everyone, this is a surprise, but also a good one. Even for James. A couple of more days later, Donald and Douglas's tenders needed an inspection for maintenance. Donald's tender was big, but as for Douglas's, it was the same exact size as his old one. Small, but good. One day, some of the mainline engines had gone to work. Some were staying in the sheds. But Donald, he was having a hard time waking up. No, I will not go. Oh, Donald, what's the matter? I'm classified to take a goods train. A goods train of all things. That's a disgraceful act. But you like goods trains. No, I never did. Come on, Donald, you lazy git. You're on a goods engine. Come on, let me have to go. A goods train. A goods train. I hate goods trains. They're the most worst thing I could ever do. Donald on the turntable spun around. Whistled and puffed off. What's wrong with him? He isn't usually like this. James's change was better, but that's even worse. Henry was waiting for his train to be shunted, but beside him...
Look, what's that?
Huh? Douglas? Just stuck shunting some trucks. You were never scared of that, were you?
Sorry, Henry, it's just that I've been scared of things all the time.
But before Henry could ask anything, Douglas shoved away in a hurry. Well, that's odd. Soon Henry coupled from his train and went away. Henry was puffing on his way home, but his driver was concerned for him. Henry, you look worried. Are you alright? I don't know, driver. It's just with Donald, Douglas, and James. They've all changed. It was nighttime. The engines were resting in their sheds. There was no confusion, no delay. Henry was enjoying his sleep until a storm began to pick up and there was lightning everywhere. One lightning strike struck the sheds. Get out of my head! What do you want? James, what's going on? Help me, Henry! The twins started to yell as well. Oh, what do you want from me?
Get out of the smoke box.
The other engines were confused until one stroke of lightning showed them why they were yelling. In front of their eyes, there were 3 different engines. None of them looked familiar. And then once the light of lightning went out, the engines went back to normal. Soon the lightning stopped. Henry was spooked, as well as Gordon and Bear. They were in the sheds when all of this happened. The tenders, they must have... How could this happen? I don't know, Gordon, but I think it has something to do with the tenders. But that's impossible. The tenders don't have... I know, Gordon, but there's something suspicious about those tenders. And I think I know who to call tomorrow. You should just get some rest. Alright, then. Oh, Henry, hi. Hello, Doc. Someone's here to ask you about those tenders that you got from the other railway. Really? And who? Why, that would be me. Oh, hello, sir. Now, Duck, tell me, what did the Diesel tell you? Alright, sir. The 3 tenders belonged to 6 different engines, and they had gotten into severe accidents, which led them to their scrapping. As usual, these tenders were taken as spare ones, like for engines who needed them in case if their tenders weren't working. Engines with these tenders, usually in the night, would hear weird noises like talking or whistling or puffing from an engine, even though no one was around besides their crews, but the voices never belonged to the crews. Some theorized that the tenders could have been cursed, or something like that, but that could never be proven, so they had no right to scrap it. Till one day, an engine had to take the tenders away. But as they were pulling it away to put another siding, the engine fell over. There was nothing on the tracks, so people started believing that the theory of the cursed tenders were actually true. And why did you tell no one about this? I didn't pay attention much to the engine story, so I didn't tell anyone. So? What do you mean? So that's why? You just brought the tenders without telling anyone? I'm sorry, but I didn't pay much attention to the engine story. I didn't really mind, I just wanted to be helpful. Well, probably someone could have got severely hurt. Or even worse. Just be glad that it was James and the twins who were hurt. That is quite enough, Henry. Sorry, sir. Now, Duck, I know you were just trying to be helpful, but next time when you try to bring someone, tell someone, especially me, that bring them. Yes, sir. The Fat Controller walked into Henry's cab, and he puffed away. Dick was sad, and he knew that Henry was cross. He had all the right to be. It was an accident. He just hoped that Henry would be able to forgive it. Henry was told to take the tenders to the scrapyard. They placed a truck in between Henry's tender and the haunted tenders, just to be safe. Gordon had explained everything to them, so you see, that's what happened. Ugh, me liking good trains? Yuck! Well, it was quite a dream, not gonna lie. And everyone laughed, even James. Henry also laughed in the distance, but it was more of an awkward one. He was still horrified about what happened last night. At the scrapyard, the Fat Controller explained everything to the workers, and he had left earlier. Henry watched as the workers cut up the scrap. I might have been a little too hard on Duck. He was only trying to be helpful. That was always the Great Western way. Henry puffed away, cutting torches, took apart the tenders piece by piece. Hello, Duck. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about earlier. And I'm sorry for endangering everyone by bringing those tenders to the island in the first place. Can we be friends again? Yes, Henry, we can. Come along. As Great Western engines and green engines have to stick together, I will agree on that. Duck laughed as Henry and Duck went home happily together.
Thomas, that story was garbage.
Well, at least my story was better than yours.
No, mine was.
No, mine was.
Mine was.
Mine was.
Mine was.
Spook. Ah!
Ah!
Same as always. Trick or treat.